The Wake Up News, including sports. Streaming live on Facebook at Globe TV GH. In our first story for this morning, the police service has strengthened security on the University of Ghana campus for academic activities to continue without obstacles. This follows disturbances that occurred on Tuesday when some students protested in an attempt to reoccupy their hall of residence after the ruling of the Accra High Court banning the residential policy decision by the university. Students of the Commonwealth Hall on Friday, January 6, 2023, filed a lawsuit against the university for directing residing students to hunt for accommodation outside the campus.
The students clashed with the police in an attempt to reoccupy their hall of residence after the ruling of the Accra High Court banning the residential policy decision by the university.
We'll be giving rooms. Everybody you see here, you can see their bags. They've been sacked from the UJ hostels because they have not been able to pay. And then our demands were simple. We cannot pay. The court has given an order. Take us back. How is that so difficult?
We want to make it emphatic clear today that the stone silent by the university management not to kowtow to the decision of the court is what? Tantamount to perjury. It is tantamount to unlawfulness, and we want to let them know that we, the descendants of Father Bacchus, can never be intimidated.
The police, at the time of the protest, arrested 18 of the students for the disturbances and kept them in the police custody. According to a statement from the police service, the arrested students will be put before court to face justice. The 18 suspected were together with about 200 others, believed to be former members of the Commonwealth Hall of the university. However, calm has since been restored by the police, and the security on campus is strengthened to avoid any further disturbances. The police have, however, assured that all other persons involved in the disturbances will be arrested to face justice.
Let's now focus in education. President Akufo-Addo has commissioned and handed over the Kwabenya Model Kindergarten School constructed by BSW International for the people of Kwabenya to the Ghana Education Service. The government is embarking on the construction of some 350 kindergarten blocks to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goal 4.2, which seeks to ensure that access to early childhood care and development to prepare them for primary education.
The play-based classroom kindergarten is one of the many developmental projects the government is embarking on by constructing 350 kindergarten blocks, with some 160 completed. According to the general manager of BSW International, the model school will help children access ICT. However, she fears a lack of internet connection and electricity may threaten the project.
There are several things that we were struggling with. As you know, that ICT requires electricity and connectivity, and for us it was important to select and to find the resources and to bring you the solutions that can be independent of connectivity, that all children, despite of where they're located, because the project was in 6 regions, will be able to access technology and the solutions. So there are things that we hope the government of Ghana will improve and I've seen this already throughout the years, that it's getting better and better, but as you probably know, it's a very long road. From our side, we'll do all possible to ensure that all the teachers, even in the most remote area, we're not encouraging them to sit at the desks. We want them to be active. We want them to work with their hands. We want them to create, to do something. So technology, it's actually only one of the stations that you see in the classroom. You have the reading corner, you have the tangibles corner, you have the play corner, you have the touch screens. So when we designed the classrooms, we were thinking about several things. First of all, the number of kids in the class, and we know that the number can reach up to 70 children, so we had to bring, for example, the projector and the board in order for the teacher to be able to work with the whole classroom.
The Education Minister, Dr. Yao Edichum, said the project, when expanded, will transform pre-primary in the country.
Today we have a wonderful opportunity of seeing one that has been completed in Greater Accra. I'm so excited to understand that President is not interested in STEM education from secondary. He's interested in STEM education starting from kindergarten.
According to the president, the government will continue to take the education of millions of Ghanaian children seriously. He says government will continue to invest in education and help secure the country's future. For this, interventions are geared towards the growth and development of Ghana. President Akufo-Addo charged all assemblies to take care of all new classroom blocks that will be built under the new project.
I hope the management and teachers of this newly constructed kindergarten block will ensure the best maintenance practices are put in place so that this school is well utilized and maintained for the benefit of our students.
Now, still on education, the Ghana Education Service has released the placement for 2022 graduates of the Basic Education Certificate Examination into senior high schools and technical vocational education and training. According to the service, candidates can now log on to the computerized school selection and placement system to check their schools. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa, made this known at a press conference. According to him, out of the 547,329 candidates who sat for the examination, 538,399 qualified for school placement.
Per the calendar for 2023, the academic calendar for 2023, the first-year students are to report to school on February 20, 2023. So from next week, February 20, students can report to schools for registration and possible orientation for academic work to commence on February 27. 2023. Payment of monies. We strongly caution parents and guardians to be on the alert for unscrupulous individuals who may approach them to pay any amount of money for the placement of the awards. Such persons are to be reported immediately to the police and to the GES, or possibly to the TVET service for us to pick it up. We are also advising heads of all schools to stick to the approved prospectus. On the other hand, we also urge parents to cooperate with the school authorities during and after the admission process. Grievance redress mechanisms. Solution centers have been set up at all regional education offices. At the national level, the Solution Center will be set up at Nat Hall, Adabraka. I'm told the place is even ready. GES call center has also been set up with well-trained staff to address all concerns from parents and guardians. On this note, may I take the opportunity to announce that the 2023 Computerized School Selection and Placement System, CSSPS, for senior high schools and TVET school site will be going live any moment from this minute. I would like to thank you for your attention.
Moving forward, the Ghanaian Parliament has passed the National Vaccine Institute Bill 2022. The bill proposes to establish the National Vaccine Institute to coordinate and supervise vaccine and serum research, development and manufacturing, as well as other related matters. In his 26th COVID-19 update, President Akufo-Addo stated that the government had committed $25 million to establish a National Vaccine Institute to spearhead the manufacture of vaccines to meet national and regional needs. Speaking to journalists, the ranking member of Parliament Health Committee, Kwabena Minta Akando, said the bill would help in dealing with situations where procured vaccines are not delivered on time.
The object of the Act will be obeyed because the object says that we are going to research, do development, and also do the manufacturing of the vaccines in the country. I do not want a situation where we will be resorting to what they call fill and finish, just packaging the vaccines in the country. I don't think that that is the intent of the bill that we have just passed into law. And I believe that if we had something of that nature in this country, the situation where as a government will be paying amount more than $120 million US into another country where we don't even get the vaccines, we don't even get our monies back. I believe that this law may be able to prevent such a situation. And so let's see, we have a lot of laws in this country. It has to do with the implementation of the laws. So to a large extent, we have passed the law. And even before the passage of the law, the president allocated about 25 million Ghana cedis to the committee that the president constituted.
Now, the former Chief Justice Sofa Akufu has expressed disappointment in the head of finances, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. She says the minister has not done well managing the economy. According to her, Ken Ofori-Atta has failed to ensure delivery according to the promise by the Akufo-Addo government to protect the public purse.
Speaking to Joy News, the stateswoman pointed out that the purse that required protection, as promised by the government, has instead become empty. The former Chief Justice, a pensioner, has been picketing at the Finance Ministry, demanding an exemption from the Domestic Debt Exchange Program. The program has become necessary for government to secure an International Monetary Fund support program. The retired Supreme Court judge believes the Finance Minister has not lived up to the expectations per his performance in managing the economy.
When Ken became Minister of Finance in 2017, I heard him on the TV. He was talking, and he was saying that he sees his responsibility as being that of protecting the national coffers. Now, the promise and the achievement, the gap is too big, and I need more explanation. I think that's it. You know, you'll be surprised. I normally take things, when it comes to a lot of things, I take things from their most simplified format. There's no need to be complex about all kinds of things. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to be able to argue all kinds of isms and so on and so forth. No. But all I know is that you were going to protect the national coffers, and they are now empty. Whether they were empty at that time or not is neither here nor there, because you were not going to be protecting the empty thing. You were going to protect it and make sure that
Now, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on Wednesday, February 15th, expressed shock at the constant pay cutting at the Finance Ministry by pensioner bondholders. According to him, the ministry had indicated that partaking in the debt restructuring was voluntary. Therefore, pensioners could decide whether to participate or not. However, the aggrieved pensioners insist the minister must make it formal and include that their bonds are exempted from the debt restructuring.
Addressing the pensioners at the Finance Ministry on Wednesday, the Finance Minister said although the release had suggested that tendering of bonds was voluntary, many pensioners did not tender their bonds. The minister reassured the pensioners that the government was devoted to observing their bonds, whether they were tendered or not. According to him, the press statement emphasized the fact that this was voluntary and about 15 to 16% of the petition were tendered.
I had made it unequivocally clear that, all government bonds will be honored, and that, therefore, whether you are voluntary or not, whether you have tendered or not, it will be respected. So I really want to understand why we are still here, so that if there's anything more I can say, I can do that. But really, if you look at the press statement, it emphasized the fact that this was voluntary, and about 15–16% of the pensioners actually tendered, but they chose to. The bulk of you did not, but I had indicated that it was voluntary, which means that we will honor those payments. What I tried to do in giving you the option was that about almost 80% of you have bonds that go beyond 5 years, from 5 years going. And so in the new arrangement where I have brought everything down to below, from 5 years down, it makes it easier to get your lump sum money faster. That's your choice. It makes it easier. Anytime you're able to get your money ahead of time is good for you. But that's really your choice. And therefore, a lot of you decided not to take it. But that was really the basis of giving you the option. But if you chose not to take the option, we made it clear that we will honor those things. So really, there's no reason for us to be sitting here.
Ken Ofori-Atta expressed surprise at the continuous picketing at his office by pensioner board holders. According to him, the ministry has handled the concern of the pensioners, so there was no need for day-to-day picketing at the ministry. The pensioners since last week assembled at the Finance Ministry, demanding an exemption from the domestic debt exchange program.
Coming up, the government has directed that the newly enslaved Boko Naba be arrested, describing his enslavement as illegal and a threat to national security. Also, Ghana's inflation has dropped marginally for the first time in 19 months. We'll bring you details soon after this break. Welcome back. Now, Ghana's inflation has dropped marginally for the first time in 19 months. Figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service revealed that for January 2023, inflation dropped to 53.6% from the 54.1% recorded in December 2022. Inflation has been on an upward flight path since May 2021. This means that in January 2023, the general price level was 53.6% higher than in January 2022. Month-on-month inflation between December 2022 and January 2023 was 1.7%. According to the Statistical Service, January's food inflation was 59.7%. Month-on-month food inflation was 2.8%, while non-food inflation was 47.9%. January's non-food inflation was 49.9%. Month-on-month non-food inflation was 0.8%, with inflation for locally produced items perched at 50.0%. Inflation for imported items was also 62.5%. On a regional level, the Eastern region recorded the highest year-on-year inflation of 66.2%, while Greater Accra followed with an inflation of 65%. Now, the government has directed that the newly enskined Boko Naba be arrested. It has described his enskinment as illegal and a threat to national security. In a statement on Wednesday, the Information Minister Kwadwo Nkrumah stated that Naba Asigri Abu Grago Azoka II is the Boko Naba, duly gazetted and a member of the National and Upper East Regional Houses of Chiefs. The security agencies have therefore been directed to arrest and prosecute any other person who holds himself out as a Boko Naba. Further, any development that have the potential to undermine the peace of Boko will also be dealt with swiftly and per the law. The purported enskinment took place on Wednesday in defiance of efforts by the government to stop it from happening. It is reported that the Mampusi faction in the protracted Boko conflict was at the palace of the overlord of Mamprugu, Na Bohugu Mahama Abdullahi Sheriga II, for the enskinment of a new Boko Naba, despite the recognition of Naba Asigri Abuglago Azoka II by the government and the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs as the legitimate ruler of the area. We do have our Upper East Regional correspondent Abdul Kadil on the line to tell us more. Hello Abdul, good morning and welcome to the bulletin.
Good morning.
Abdul, tell us more about what transpired at the enskinment yesterday.
I think yesterday, on the 15th of February 2023, the overlord of the Mamprugu Kingdom, the Nairi, a decision and enskin a new chief for the Boku Parliament in the Upper East region. After which, some few hours, the Minister of Information came out with a letter condemning the enskinment of the new chief, Alhaji Seydou Abagri of Kulgu, saying that it is illegal for the Nairi to make such a decision concerning the new enskinment of the Boku traditional area.
Okay.
In addition to that, the chieftaincy has an article in the 1992 Constitution, which I think that is giving the Nairi the mandate to do such an enskinment. And Article 270 in the 1992 Constitution, which reads, the institution of the chieftaincy together with its traditional council are established by customary law and usage, and it is here guaranteed. In such an article, it means that it has given the chief or the Nairi the power to enskin whoever he thinks is deem it necessary. It follows, Parliament shall have no power to enact any law which A, confers on any person or authority the right to accord or withdraw recognition to, or from a chief for any purpose whatsoever. In any way detract or delegate from the dignity of consistency. If in or done under the authority of any law shall be held to inconsistent with or in the contravention of clause 1 or 2 of this article if the law makes it provision for. So I think this article in the 1992 Constitution has given the NIE the power to inscribe whoever he thinks qualifies for the inscription. And I think the new king is the chief king in the Boku traditional area. And as it stands now, yesterday after the incident, they are still in Nalebu. They have not moved to Boku for settlement due to the new development that came up in the evening.
So far, how are the people there responding to the statement from the Information Ministry condemning the escapement of the new NABA?
As I just read the article in the 1992 Constitution, there was an information which also looks like politicians are trying to interfere into the chieftaincy matter. And for that matter, I think this particular article is giving the NIE, and I'm sure and hoping that nothing bad or there should not be any disturbance. Otherwise, the decision is, however, going to be maintained. I don't think there's anything that can distract or for him to withdraw his decision. I'm sure, and we are hoping that nothing bad should happen. But as it stands now, there's nothing like maybe they are withdrawing their instrument or they are going to consider the development that came in the evening, as the Minister of Information directs.
All right, Abdul, thank you very much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, keep your eye on the ground. We will come to you later for further details. Well, that was Abdul Kadil, who is our regional correspondent from the Upper West region. Now, moving forward, Sheikh Idrisu Yusuf Che, an Islamic scholar and educationist, has advised Muslims to be peacemakers and not peace breakers. According to Sheikh Idrisu Yusuf, Islam is a religion of peace and violence. Speaking to Globe TV News, he described Muslims who get involved in violent activities as unworthy to be Muslims, that such acts contradict the teachings of Islam.
Islam means peace, but unfortunately, most Muslims often indulge in violent activities here in Ghana and the world at large. Across the regions of Ghana, especially in the northern part, reports have shown that a conflict between the Mamprusi and Kosasis have persisted over the years, leaving scores of people dead and others sustaining injuries, most of which are Muslims. Some Zongo communities have also participated in chieftaincy disputes, putting the lives of many in danger. An act of physical force intended to cause harm to people is seen among Muslims, but Islam teachings contradict such activities. The few people involved in this practice have painted a violent picture of the Islamic communities. Sheikh Idris Yusuf Che has been speaking to Globe TV News about the unfortunate outcome.
Muslim is a peacemaker. A Muslim is somebody who humbles himself or herself. A Muslim is somebody who is not disobedient. Those who are quarreling as terrorists or extremism, they don't really approach us. Either we know ourselves to be that, or we don't know ourselves, or we plead to differ. I, Sheikh Che, plead to differ. I will say I plead to differ that we are violent people, we are troublesome people.
Speaking on the sidelines of the Boko conflict and some Zongo chieftaincy disputes, he advised that no Muslims should result in violent attacks. However, he urged the government to provide jobs to Muslims to prevent such violence.
We Muslims, many don't have the chance, privilege, opportunity to benefit from the national cake. You don't have.
We do have for you the latest in the world of sports right after this short break.
Morning. Welcome to the sports segment of the Wake Up Show. My name is BOAHEN and KONYEH. Let me take you through the headlines for this morning. A brilliant solo goal from Karim Adeyemi was enough to put Chelsea at the wrong side of the UEFA Champions League. And also, Real Madrid won by 4-0 against Elche, while Manchester City beat Arsenal to move to the top of the Premier League table. Now, the UEFA Europa League knockout round playoffs will begin today. We'll take a look at the fixtures and also we'll have a look at FC Barcelona training and also that of Manchester United. And former Black Stars goalkeeper Fatau Dauda has lauded the Ghana Football Association for the appointment of Chris Hughton. And also coach J.E. Sapon has blamed the poor performance on players on bad management in the Ghana Premier League. Now let's go for this quick break. We'll be back with the details of the stories. You're welcome back. Now, in our very first story, Chelsea were defeated by Borussia Dortmund in the UEFA Champions League by 1-0. And also, Club Brugge lost to Benfica by 2 goals.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. Globe TV, bringing the world to you.
Now, Real Madrid beat Elche by 4-0 in the La Liga Santander, while Manchester City also dealt with Arsenal by 3-1 to move to the top of the Premier League table.
Globe TV, bringing the world to you. 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 Globe TV.
The UEFA Europa League knockout round playoffs will begin today. Let's take a look at some of the fixtures for today. FC Barcelona will take on Manchester United. Ajax against FC Union Berlin. Juventus will take on Nantes. Bayern 04 Leverkusen versus AS Monaco. We have Shakhtar Donetsk against Rennes. FC Salzburg will take on AS Roma. Sporting CP against Midtjylland. And then Sevilla will play PSV Eindhoven. Now let's take you to the Ciudad Deportiva, where FC Barcelona have started training ahead of their game against Manchester United. So these are the guys in your picture: Jules Koundé, Rafinha, and then also Xavi Hernandez Cruz. They are getting ready for the Red Devils this evening. And also Manchester United trained as part of preparations ahead of their game against FC Barcelona. So these are the Manchester United players in your picture: Anthony Elanga and Facundo Palestri, the most informed Marcus Rashford, are all getting ready for this super clash. Remember, the game will be around 5:45 p.m. this evening. It's not going to be 8 p.m. It's 5:45 p.m. Now, let's take a look at some local stories. Former Black Stars goalkeeper Fatal Dauda has hailed the Ghana Football Association for naming Chris Hughton as the new head coach of the men's national team.
The FA have done well by giving the job to Chris. He was here before. Did they invite him to come here? He was happy to come and see how the structure here is. So I think he's a nice man. I don't know him, but I've watched him from afar, what he did in the English Premier League and other teams. So I think we should just support him, and then all of us will achieve. And then
now, renowned Ghanaian coach J.E. Sapon has expressed his concern about the management of football in Ghana. According to the veteran coach, players are unable to reach their full potential due to negligence from management. He made these remarks while commenting on the recent performance of Abednego Tete at BBN Gold Stars. Sapon, who previously coached Asante Kotoko and Accra Hasofuk, attributed Tete's excellent form to good management. Now that's all for sports this morning. Meet us at 9 a.m. for the details of these and many other stories. My name is Robert Konyeh. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome back. Let's take a recap of the top stories. The police service has strengthened security on the University of Ghana campus for academic activities to continue without obstacles. And also, the Ghana Education Service has released the placement for 2022 BEC graduates into senior high schools and TVET. Well, that's all we have for you this morning. I am Sandra Edu Bwai. On behalf of the production, we do appreciate your time on this morning. Coming up now is Listen to Say.